Ex-husband ghosts ex-wife, racks up huge bill. He thought he could get away with everything. He had ghosted his wife without a proper divorce process, moved out with a younger woman, and covered his tracks so that he couldn't be found. And that wasn't all. He had been living off his wife's financial resources for months now. Little did he know that she had been patiently waiting and she was about to have her revenge. No matter how much you try to leave it behind, you can never get away from your past. You may think that you can move somewhere else, hide from everyone you used to know and try to start anew. But your past will always catch up with you. Past actions have consequences, and sooner or later, they will come to bite you in the back. This story was witnessed and shared by one Reddit user who works at a call center for one of the leading telcos. Specifically, he's in charge of the billing queue. There was no way that we could have expected that the comfortable, although a bit boring routine of his job was about to get shaken. He was used to catering to clients' complaints, questions, and problems, and even though he listened to lots of stories every day, they were all rather mundane and limited to billing issues. Little did he know that he was about to get involved in a dramatic story of infidelity and revenge. And it was all recorded on video. But it all started like just another day. He received a call from a woman complaining about a $49 charge for a wireless access point. She was the more baffled, considering she hadn't even hired any TV services from the company in question. And the response from the customer service agent left her even more bewildered. The customer service agent told her that she had in fact hired TV services from that company, starting about a month ago. To be specific, a 3-year-long contract for TV and internet services. The lady couldn't believe what she was hearing. She said that she lived in a small town where those services from that company weren't even available. So the customer service agent did a little more research until he finally found out the truth. Someone else had hired those services from the lady's account. But who could it be? Right after the customer service agent hit her with the news, the lady started crying and told him the full story. Her husband was the only person who had access to her account. So it could have only been him. But there was one problem. He hadn't seen him in months, leaving her in particularly heinous circumstances. One day, he had just left the house and disappeared without a trace, leaving her and their children all by themselves. He had a younger lover, and he had moved out with her. There hadn't been any formal divorce or separation process, and no one knew where he was staying now. There was no way of getting a hold of him, as his friends and family remained silent. He had totally ghosted her. And that wasn't all. To add insult to injury, he had been hiring TV and internet services under her name. He had already taken most of the money from their joint account before leaving, but apparently, that wasn't enough. The customer service agent was moved by the lady's story. So after having a think, he came up with a solution and a vengeance shortcut for her. And this is what he suggested. He told her that he could remove his access to her account, reduce the TV and internet services to the bare minimum, and redirect them to her home. And there was one more thing he could do for her. He had access to the address where her husband was staying and from which he was hiring those services. And when the lady heard that, she instantly knew what to do. She and her lawyer could definitely use that information. Now they could find where he was staying, get a hold of him, and finally make him pay for all his wrongdoings. So she gladfully wrote down the address that the customer service agent gave her and accepted his offer to modify the internet and TV subscription. And one might think that this was the end of the story. But it wasn't. Days later, some footage became public. It showed some man going to a customer service bot of the same company that has been mentioned in this story. He had some complaints, and apparently, he wasn't getting his way with them. He got argumentative, visibly upset, and, finally, aggressive. The video shows the man trashing the whole store and trying to assault the customer service agent who was there to listen to his complaints. However, he's quickly handled by security and kicked out of the store. And when this story was researched by the media, they found out something. The man's complaints were about some cancelled TV and internet subscription, a vindictive ex-wife, and the company's policy on data privacy. Was this the runaway husband from the other story? Was it the man who had left his wife and children, hidden with a secret lover, and milked his wife's resources? We will probably never know the answer to that question. The Reddit user who posted the lady's story, that is, the first customer service agent, never gave away her surname. So that question will probably always remain unanswered. But it's tempting to suppose that this was the man the lady complained about on her phone call and that he finally received a lesson in humility. But maybe we should hear his side of the story. What do you think? Maybe there was more to this story than what the lady said and what the customer service agent shared on Reddit.